Hello friends, I Jaswansi Kelasya welcomes you in our YouTube channel Parad Germinates the Democracy. We are also having an Hindi channel name is Parad Loktantra Ankuran. We are also available in different social media platforms. By observing the description, you can know about them. What purposes, for what objectives, and with what philosophy these channels have been launched, you can also know in this regard in the description. It is requested that please do not focus on the quality of our presentation, but kindly please focus on the depthness of the subjects, matter, and issues we discuss. If you think that our channels is putting forward some revolutionary, basic, and fundamental ideas and increasing your knowledge, then kindly please subscribe, like, and share our channel. Also press the bell icon button so that our new videos you can get immediately. Friend, with this episode, we are presenting a video series related to the merits and demerits of the present day election system of India. As you know, in our India, there is a hue and cry and very staunch agitation is going on regarding the EVM machine. But we are not discussing about the merits and demerits of the EVM machines, but we are discussing about the demerits of the electoral system of the country. We have divided this video series in 3 parts. Now, as you know, we always request that our presentation is totally technical in nature. So, we have an write-up and we produce by reading the views like this. In political science, there is a established fact in form of a proverb that a representative government is always a preferable government than a good government. Therefore, political science of democracy established that Indian ruling class, how much yet formed a good government or runs a good governance, it cannot do public welfare. Contrary to this, the ruling class of India used to make the common masses as unprofitable, lazy, coward, fatalists, and wanted to keep dependent upon this ruling class. The ruling class of India developed such type of electoral system which persist and make strong only and only their ruling interests. The electoral system of India is advantageous and meritorious to only ruling class of India. For rest of 90% common pupils, it is a curse. According to a study of Campaign for Election Reforms of India, in abbreviation CERI, Tumkur, Karnataka, stated that in India, where there is a multicultural society, in fact, country with so many nationalities, and where their multi-party system exists, and also where there is a politics of alliances amongst the political party, then this electoral system cannot be a system which can be established and uphold the values of democracy and public representation. A book published by CERI. It is a very famous NGO which is working regarding the basic principle of democracy called Berlin Declaration. According to this declaration, a workshop of world's reputed intellectuals was held on last 17th to 19th October 2011 in Berlin, Germany. In this workshop, it was held by all the intellectuals that the system of first past the post adopted in India is entirely wrong. And yet Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has also criticized this election system as totally wrong. In this regard, in 1919, he had been stated in a statement against this system before South Borough Commission. Dr. Ambedkar, writing and speeches, volume 1.1, page 250 is a reference. When the process started for representation in government to Indians in 1930, the strongly opposed this system of FPTP in context to joint electoral system. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, writing and speeches, volume 5, page 347 is the reference. Not even this, by enumerating the advantages and merits of separate electorate which was awarded by the British government as communal award, advocated this. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, writing and speeches, volume 5, page 348 is the reference. When a surprising and strange thing is this, that in India to conduct this FPTP and system of election, there is a act also known as Indian Public Representation Act 1955. If we analyze this act in context to the philosophy embodied in example of soil sample and grain sample, then we see this. A. In this act, there is no representation of Indian public, and nor even this act direct the common people of the country to forward them towards the goal as that of tried to explain with the help of the above mentioned example of true and the proportional public representation, that means soil sample. Though if we see minutely, then this act is only a legal document which gives direction that how to conduct different voting processes, and under this act election commission conduct their activities. The surprising thing is this, that not a single intellectual nor a political scientist could give this attention towards this fact that the little of this act of Indian Public Representation Act, the political scientists could not give their attention towards the fact that the title of this act is Indian Public Representation Act. But in practice, this act does not ensure representation to Indian public in particular, nor a state's assemblies as that of real meaning of public representation. is explained with the help of, in particular, nor a state's assemblies as that of real meaning of public representation is explained with the help of sample of elites, feudal, ex-kings, criminals, landlords, mafias, industrialists, business icons, corporate etc. in parliament, state assemblies. In Parad's philosophy and vision, these persons are not and never be the public representatives. Actually, the name of this act must be like Election Voting Process Conduction Act. If our party gets representation in UP Assembly and in Central Parliament, then we shall be enact such act which shall be as per our scheme project proposed in the vision document. If we needed reforms, amendments in the constitution shall be done accordingly. Nowadays, the Varna system and mentality of casteism have become a very big hurdle in establishing real democracy as per the definition of the democracy, and in true representations, proportional participation in governance, administration, and proportional rational consumption, utilization of all resources, etc. In this regard, the deep study of the Parad reveals that so long as that this fact is not accepted that India as a country is a state of so many nationalities, sub-nationalities, ethnic groups, those are termed as caste, and hence as long as that each and every caste actually a nation would not get proportional representation till that in Indian state peace, happiness and real prosperity shall not be attained. What we see and listen the slogan, India is a great democracy, great culture, great power, world lord, my India is great, etc. are only fake propaganda and are only slogans. Next, so long as that extreme richness can be abolished, extremely poverty shall not be eradicated. The helmet of eradicate poverty, development, and flow of development of Ganga only and only are slogans, imaginary blossoms and propaganda. Actually, it is the hidden agenda to exterminate the poor farmers because Indian ruling class at war footing launching mechanizations in the country and neglecting the agriculture sector. Third one, when it shall be not converted narrow of very large range of income, till then this economical development is a treachery. The development, the investment, the DGP are all the ways and means to make rich to more richer 10% and poor to the more poor 90%. In the constitution, caste and ethnic groups are recognized, and so long as by taking into practice as per proportional of their population, all castes and all ethnic groups must be allowed government budget, central and states, and must be expended exclusively and categorically only through their own respective persons, drawing disbursing officers, contractors, suppliers, stockists, industrialists, producer and bankers, etc., of representative costs, ethnic groups up to the level of depositing, transferring the money in their respective personal bank accounts. Till then, their economic development and welfare is not possible. Fifth one, after going through a deep study, we reveal a very dangerous thing that gradually India is going to a direction of converting into a form of theocratic states. The superstitions, ritualism, fanatism, religious intoxication, etc., are increasing is very fast speed. Contrary to that, in spite of the provisions of Article 51AJ of the Constitution, the country is going towards very fastly to illogistic, irrationalistic thinking, and so also non-scientific temperament. This is our serious concern. Point 6. The question is that when in the Constitution of India not only discarded all these negative trends, but also there are so many provisions, articles are there for their abolition. Not even this, the Constitution of India is itself standing on jurisprudential principles, on logistic rational thinking, then yet afterward why these all negative trends are very speedily in increasing order, why they are not opposed almost the common masses as mass movement. According to our study, there are two main regions amongst so many regions as one, the so-called intellectuals class of the country actually is not a true intellectual, is not the true real intellectual class. They profess and accept the values of Indian ruling class. So also by adopting the works of promoting, propagandizing, nurturing, extending and developing them, they are engaged in ensuring its livelihood, glamour, pleasure and for reward and award. B. The common men of the country have been really and practically converted into subjects, means property of the king, that is present day leaders, corporates. The common masses have been converted and kept as paupers. The common masses, according to Karl Marx, by eating pill of opinion in the form of rupees 1 kg rice, rupees 2 kg wheat, subsidies, dal bhat schemes, Manrega, free distribution of so many needments and thousands of personal based scheme, etc., enjoying their slavery. Friend, with this we conclude the first part of this episode. Thanks for being with us and viewing our full videos. Again, thanks.